When I first started backpacking, my base weight was almost 30 pounds. That was way too heavy for me. And over the past few years, you know, I've made gear changes and slight adjustments in my kit. And now I've got my base weight to 9 pounds or so, and it's just consistently going down. My name is Dylan. I'm an ultralight backpacker. And today I just wanted to share some of my tips on how I lighten my backpack. And maybe you can use these tips to lighten yours too. So tip number one is track your base weight. So I think a lot of people when they start backpacking, they don't know what their gear actually weighs. They're kind of just guessing. And then when they go on a trip, they just throw it all into their backpack. And then when they start on trail, it weighs 30 or 40 pounds and they're surprised. So my advice would be get a kitchen scale from Walmart or Amazon for $5 and weigh every single piece of gear you got, even if it's small. Weigh everything and put it into a program like lighterpack.com or Pack Wizard, but just put it into something that's trackable where you can see it all laid out in front of you. When you see it laid out in that manner, it's easy to see, you know, what's weighing you down or where you can shave weight. I personally use lighterpack.com, and what I like about it is, you know, after I upgrade a piece of gear or after I shave some weight on something, you can track it over time and you'll just consistently watch your base weight go down. I plan on making a video at some point about how to use these programs like LighterPack. I'm gonna link one of my example loadouts in the description. But for now, tip number one, weigh everything, track your base weight. That's the best place to start. My second tip for going ultralight is to focus on your big three. So your big three in your backpacking setup is your backpack itself, your tent or your shelter, and then your sleep system, which is usually a sleeping bag or a quilt. So when I first got into backpacking, I went to REI and I got a 5-pound Osprey backpack. I got a freestanding tent that weighed over 4 pounds. And I got a synthetic mummy sleeping bag that weighed over 4 pounds. So right off the rip, my base weight for just my big three was over 13 pounds. When I got into ultralight backpacking, my backpack itself now weighs less than 2 pounds. I use a trekking pole tent instead of a freestanding tent, and that weighs less than 2 pounds. And I use a down quilt instead of a synthetic mummy sleeping bag, and that weighs less than 2 pounds. So right off the cuff, my big three in my ultralight setup is almost 10 pounds less than my standard setup when I started. So if you're looking to go ultralight, I think the big three is a great place to start. That's where you're gonna get the biggest bang for your buck. You're probably gonna shave multiple pounds with just one purchase. I plan on making a video soon about my top gear picks. You know, if you're trying to upgrade these big three items. But for now, I would just say start with your big three, maybe upgrade your tent or your sleeping bag. You're gonna shave multiple pounds, and that's a great place to start. So my third tip is gonna be to use multi-use gear. So as an ultralight backpacker, I'm constantly looking at my gear and looking for things that can do more than one job. So probably the best example of this is a trekking pole tent. You know, you're already carrying your trekking poles to hike with, so you might as well use them to set up your tent also. Or instead of carrying a bandana and a rag and a beanie, I might just carry a buff, and that's gonna do what all those other items are gonna do. Or I don't bring a coffee mug and a pot to cook my coffee in. I'm just gonna drink my coffee straight out of the pot and leave the mug at home. So when you're picking gear, look for stuff that can serve more than one purpose. That's gonna lead to, you know, less items in your pack, less clutter in your pack, and ultimately less weight too. So tip number three, multi-use gear. So tip number four is gonna be to leave the just-in-case gear at home. So when I first started backpacking, I would bring, you know, a whole roll of duct tape just in case something got messed up. I would bring 2 pairs of pants just in case my other pair got messed up or got dirty. Or I would bring a backup power bank just in case my original one died. The truth is, all that gear stayed in the bottom of my backpack. I never used it, and it only weighed me down. When you go ultralight, you kind of have to shift your mindset. You know, you're not bringing stuff just in case. You're only bringing the necessities of what you need, you know, to get out on trail and to go backpacking. Once you do that, you'll realize, you know, you don't need 3 t-shirts. You don't need a backup water filter. You don't need all this unnecessary stuff. And odds are, if you do end up needing something, you can get off trail fast enough to safely get it, or there's gonna be people around you that can help. Once you start to leave all this backup gear and this just-in-case gear at home, I think you're gonna be surprised, you know, you don't need this stuff and it's only weighing you down. So tip 4, leave all your backup gear and all your just-in-case gear at home. Tip number 5 is gonna be to reevaluate your gear after every trip. So here's the thing about going ultralight. It's not something that's done overnight, it's a process. So after every backpacking trip, I dump all my gear out on the floor and I go through every item one by one and I ask myself some questions. Like, you know, maybe can I leave this at home next time because I haven't used it in the last 5 trips? Or maybe can I cut this in half, or can I reduce it? Or maybe I'll say, you know, this item is too heavy, so I'm gonna upgrade it to a lighter option when the budget allows. When you do this after every trip, your kit slowly starts to get dialed into you. And that's when the ultralight thing really starts to click. You know, you're not worried about your gear, you're not worried about your pack weight, you're just worried about getting on trail and going backpacking. So tip number 5, reevaluate your gear after every trip. So tip number 6 is gonna be that every ounce counts. So here's what I've learned from going ultralight. Grams turn into ounces and ounces turn into pounds. So I've been backpacking with folks before, and I've heard people say, you know, I'm not worried about bringing my coffee mug, it only weighs a few ounces. Or I'm gonna bring my favorite Nalgene bottle instead of my smart water bottle because it's only a few ounces more. The thing is, those little ounces here and there add up a lot over time. Think about it like this. If you save 4 ounces in 4 areas of your backpacking kit, that's 1 whole pound. So what I would say is save every single ounce you can. So if you've got your favorite backpacking spoon, but it weighs 2.5 ounces, and then you've got an ultralight titanium spoon that weighs 0.5 ounces, bring that one. And I know you love your Nalgene bottle with all the stickers on it, but it's 4 ounces heavier than that smart water bottle, so bring that instead. Every little bit of weight savings adds up over time, so tip number 6 is gonna be every ounce counts. And I'm gonna wrap it up with 2 quick bonus tips. So bonus tip number 1 is clothing. I see a lot of beginner backpackers bringing way too much clothes. You don't need a new outfit for every day of the trip. You really only need 1 outfit to hike in and 1 outfit to sleep in. Those extra outfits add up to a lot of weight, and by the end of a backpacking trip, everybody smells bad anyway. So don't bring those extra clothes, leave them at home. It's gonna save you a lot of weight in your pack. And bonus tip number 2, ditch the stuff sacks. I know they're good for keeping your pack organized and they look pretty, but all that extra material and fabric only adds weight. So almost every stuff sack is over 1 ounce. So if you've got 10 or 12 stuff sacks in your backpack, you're probably carrying over 1 pound in stuff sacks. I would say just use a pack liner, put your stuff directly in your backpack, and I think you'll be surprised that you're probably gonna feel more organized without the stuff sacks than you do using them. So ditch the stuff sacks, they're only weighing you down. So those are all my top tips if you're trying to go ultralight, if you're trying to save weight in your backpack. I know these tips were great for me when I was starting to go ultralight, so hopefully they'll help you too. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite tip was. And maybe if you have your own tip or your own backpacking hack, leave it in the comments below to help everybody out. And yeah, I've got some awesome videos coming, so hit subscribe, stay tuned. And until then, thanks for watching everybody. We'll see you next time.